Bar626 here, and today we have a very special deck profile here. This is the main deck that I use all the time when I battle. This is my main go-to deck, the deck that is in that briefcase you guys saw. This is that deck. This is the deck I'll be taking it to the tournament up in Chicago, and all the details for that event will be down in the description below. Go check it out. And I'll be there with Bailey from BakuNerdz. Like I said, check out in the description below. All the information will be there, and I will be up there competing this tournament. And this is the deck I will be using in that tournament. Now, let's go ahead and get into this deck pro. This is a Darkus Aurelus deck. It used to be the mono Darkus deck, but then it became a Darkus Aurelus deck, and I like it a whole lot better with that little Aurelus tweak inside of it. Now, the first Bakugan we're going to be using, of course, because we had to talk about the Bakugan, is Nilius Ultra. Now, my boy Nilius Ultra here is really, really powerful. He has the 2 shield cores, which are our Pyrus Darkus 400 B power cores. He has 200 B power, 6 damage, and plus 400 B power if you land on a shield, which if you land on this one, it gets him to 1000 turn 1, which is really good. That's a really, really good core there. Now, our next one is our Aurelus Bakugan, which is the core Aurelus Nilius here, which is a very good Bakugan. It uses the orange shield and the green fist, which the orange shield and the green fist we use is the plus 150, plus 2 damage, and the plus 300. And this is really good. His Evo is even better. He has 505. Is what his damage and his B power is. Like I said, his Evo is a whole lot better. Now, the next one we have is Lupithion Ultra here. Now, Lupithion Ultra has the orange shield and the green fist, which is 300 and 150 plus 2. Now, he has 500 B power and 5 damage, and his effect is Victor. All players must discard a card. Now, this is really good if you're trying to discard cards, and this is the card that I use to help discard the cards. Now, that is the Bakugan there. They have a lot of really cool stuff. The really, really strong and powerful Bakugan. I like them a lot, and their Evos are just even better. So let's go on ahead and check out their Evos. Alrighty, so the Evos for these Bakugan are going to be really, really powerful. That's why we have the Evos. And the first one we have is the Nilius Ultra, and it becomes into Hyper Nilius Ultra. For 3 energies, 500 B power, and 8 damage. Not too bad. But his stat is what gives him better. If you land on the Magic Shield core, you get plus 800. So if you land on that core right there, the plus 400 on a Darkus and Pyrus, you will get up to 1700 B power, which is really, really powerful if you get that. And that's only on turn 3, which is really good. The next Evo we have is going to be Hyper Nilius. We are going to be using the Hyper Nilius for the Aurelus. 3 energies, 808. We don't use it for the energy cost, we actually use it for this ability, which is if this card is discarded, you may play it for free, which is amazing what you guys can do with that. You can basically just discard cards and play them for free. Now, we don't have any Evos for Lupithion Ultra because the Lupithion Ultra Evo is very expensive. It's a 7 cost, and I don't want to use it. And the same thing for the other Nilius. His big Nilius, Titan Nilius, I think is what it is. I think it is, or Maximus Nilius. I think it's one of whatever the Evo, the big Evo that's 6 cost. It's a big one. I just don't care to use it because it is a high cost card. If I had it, I may run one in here, but I'm sticking with the Hyper Nilius Ultra. Now, those are the Evos, so let's go ahead and get into those action cards. Alrighty, so going into our action cards. Our first action card we have is going to be Shade Blade. It's a 0 cost card. Its plus is 2 damage. This is really good if you're trying to get some damage boosting onto it. This is a really good card for that. Now, our next one is going to be Prismatic Shield for 1 energy plus 200 B power. Now, this is kind of like the little weak one out of the 3 that you're going to see, but this is still a 1 energy cost, 200 B power. It's really good for if you're using Darkus, I have to say. And then our next one is going to be Darkus Slicer. This is a 1 cost card plus 200 B power. And if you're holding a green fist, plus 3 damage. So if you're holding that green fist that we had, that 150 plus 2, you're now getting 5 damage instead of just 2 damage, which is really good. And then the new card that just came out, which is Thunderstorm. This is a 1 energy cost card, plus 200 B power, and if you discard a card, you re-roll your Bakugan. Really good for Darkus is getting a 1 cost re-roll card, which is really good. Almost every other faction, I think, except for Chaos and Ventus, I think, has one reroll cost, which is our Aquas and Pyrus all have a 1 cost reroll. So this is good to get a Darkus reroll in the game, which is really good. And it's also another 200 B power, so you have 9 cards that gets you turn 1 to extra 200 B power. And their next card is going to be a 2-cost card, which is Mind Slip. For 2 energies, choose a player to discard a card, and then you may re-roll your Bakugan. You don't have to re-roll, but you may re-roll, which is another re-roll card for Darkus, which is really good. Then we go to our 3-cost energy cost cards. Our first one here is Shadow Coil. For 3 energies, plus 4 damage. Not the greatest. But if you discard this card, you may be playing it for free. So if you discard it through the Thunderstorm or a bunch of the other cards like Mind Slip and some other cards that you'll see here in a bit, this will be very, very good for that. It's an extra 4 damage onto your Bakugan. And then our next action card we have is Stone Skin, one of the most staples that you use in a Darkus deck because of the B power. For 3 energies plus 200 B power, not great. But if you discard a card, plus 800 instead. So if you discard Shadow Coil off of that, you're getting 800 B power and 4 damage. Pretty solid. That's a pretty solid solid effect going off of that. And then our last action card we have is Dust to Dust. For 3 energies plus 300 B power, meh. But its effect is sacrifice, you may discard a card to draw 2 cards. In Darkus, you need a lot of drawing cards. So if you have to discard a card, which Shadow Coil is really good to discard, you get to draw 2 cards. So you're getting extra 300 B power and 4 damage, and you draw 2. Really good. That's what I like about this. There's a lot of good synergy with the discarding because you have the Hyper Nilius Evo, and you also have Shadow Coil and some other cards that you'll see later on in the deck that will let you be able to discard, which is really good. So now that is all the action cards. Let's go on ahead and get into those flip cards. Alrighty, so going into our flip cards. Now you may be like, well, why are you running flips? Flips are not that great. Flips are no fun. Flips do all I run flips, okay? I like flips. I love flips. They're great. And Darkus is known for their flips. So you have to run flips. So our first flip card that we play is Darkus Snare. Now, Darkus Snare has 0 energy cost card, and it stops Magic Shield. Bakugan that are holding Magic Shield. Which Magic Shield is a very common core right now in the tournaments. So you can use it, and it's going to get you really good stuff to help stop the Bakugan that are using it, like the Chaos Titan Nilius, which is the big deck that's using that core. Now, the next one we have is Sonic Shield. Now, Sonic Shield is a very powerful one as well. For 1 energy, stops a Bakugan with the Green Fist or Fire Fist. Which is 2 very common cores right now as well that are in the game. Green Fist for your Chaos card, for your Pegatrix and all that type stuff. And Fire Fist for the Titan Hydronoid, Aurelus Hydronoid Ultra, which is absolutely a beast when it comes to land on a Red Fist to getting almost over 2,000 B power when it evolves on turn 4. This is a great card to stop that. Now, the next flip, you may be like, well, first of all, that's a lot of flips. You shouldn't run that many flips. Well, guess what? There's more. Now, the next one we have is Black Hole. Now, Black Hole's a 3 energy cost card. End the turn. Nothing else can happen this turn. Start the next turn. Cards cannot be played. Remaining damage vanishes, and energy cards cannot be recharged. So this is a very good stopping your opponent type of card. It basically says, hey, we're just going to nuke everything. Basically, what it's going to be is it just stops everything else from happening, and you get just to play your Bakugan. I mean, that's it. You go to next turn. So you really want to make sure that you play this, and your opponent has no energies for next turn to play, and you'll be down 3, which is okay. But if you know you're going to win by B power, Nilius, then you'll be fine. So that's what you would do with that. And then our last flip card, because there's more, and that is going to be Pact of Darkness. Now, this boy got him a Hex Pact of Darkness. If you have Hex Pact of Darkness, let me know. I really want them, so I can get 2 more. But the Hex Pact of Darkness, or the Pact of Darkness, which is the best stop card in the whole entire game, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion as well. It's a 4 energy cost card, doesn't really matter, but it stops non-Darkus Bakugan, so it stops anything else but Darkus. But if you sacrifice, then you may discard a card and play this for free. So those cards that you just have for discard fodder, like the Hyper Nilius Aurelus and the Shadow Coil, or even this other card that you're about to see, this is great. This is great. You play it for free just by discarding a card, or you can even discard a a flip card that's in your hand. There you go. You have access. You have synergy to discard cards really well in this deck. So getting that is really great. Impact is just a great card as well. Now let's go on ahead and go to our last part of the deck, which are the heroes. Alrighty, so going into the heroes, and the heroes are very, very cool. They have some really good effects. There's not a lot of good Darkus ones, but the ones that they are really good, in my opinion. So we're going to be playing those. Like the first one we have is the AOA Lightning, the Age of Aurelus Lightning. Now this is a very cool and very powerful hero card. For 2 energies, your Bakugan gets plus 1 GB power and 1 damage. Now, if you have 3 of them, they stack, so that means plus 300 plus 3. Now, what's even better about it is that when you're having a team attack, it's not just like, oh, your one Bakugan gets plus 1 damage. No, all your Bakugan gets plus 1 damage. So that means each Bakugan will get an extra plus 1, which is amazing. That's an extra 3 damage on your team attack. 2, extra 6. 3, 9. You are getting 9 extra damage if you play 3 of those on your team attacks, which is ridiculous. That is a lot of damage if you can pull off a team attack with that. That's really, really powerful. Now, the next Darkus card we have is C. Now, C is arguably one of the best Darkus heroes, in my opinion. It's a 2 energy cost card, and it gets plus Shadow Strike to your Darkus Bakugan. This is really good for mono Darkus decks, or if you're running mostly Darkus Bakugan, aka Nilius Ultra, Pythion are the only Darkus I have. The Aurelus Nilius does not apply to that, sadly. But it's really good, so you don't have to worry about the minusing of B power if you land on a trap core, or if your opponent's running Ventus, and you get like natured powered into the face with that, which is not good. So Shadow Strike is going to help stop that. And then its other effect is if you deal 10 or more damage in an attack, you may draw 3 cards. So if you can deal 10 damage, you draw 3 cards. If you deal 11, they stop it. You draw 3. If you deal 10, they stop it on the 10th one. Boom, you draw 3. No matter what, even if you're doing 12 damage, if you don't do all 12, you deal 3. But if you deal 9 damage, but when you originally are dealing 12, but they stop it on the 9th one, you don't get to draw 3. So you have to make sure you deal 10 damage. That's why the Shade Blade is in there, to make sure I do 10 damage. And a bunch of the other cards as well. Now, the last hero card is a very powerful one, and it's a very good one if you're discarding cards, which is going to be our girl, China Riot. For 4 energies, plus 1 damage to your attacks. If this card is discarded, you may play it for free. Yes, the effect is not that great if you play it for 4 energies, but if you discard it for free, it's good. It's really good. It's actually a really good card to play for free, because you get that extra 1 damage. And this does not apply for your team attacks. It doesn't apply to each Bakugan in your team attack. It only applies to the 1 attack. So if you have the team attack, you're only getting the 1 damage, not the 3, unlike Lightning does. That makes it not as great, but it's still a great card to have. And if you play more of them, you have 3, you get plus 3 damage on your attacks, which is good. So yeah. So that is the deck. Let's go on ahead and show you guys a full image of all the cards that are used in this deck. And let's go ahead and go to that. Alrighty, so that is the deck profile here for my Darkus Aurelus deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to click that like button down below. And if you're new, go ahead and click that subscribe button and become a cousin in our family. And make sure you click that bell icon so you guys get notified of videos just like this one here, because there's a lot of really cool new upcoming videos that'll be coming out here in the next couple weeks. Now, if you guys have any ideas for this deck, or any new things that you want to think that would be better for this deck, let me know down in the comments down below, and I'll definitely look at them and see what I can do for this deck. Now remember, Ohana means family, and family means someone gets left behind or forgotten. And I will see y'all next time. Bye! So the winner of our custom hero card is David Runzen. If you are David Runzen, go on ahead and reply to that email I sent you so you guys can get that card. And I will see you guys in the next video.